Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Thursday, aka Friday Eve to everyone. Hope everyone's week is going well. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. All right, guys, let's see what happened around here today. Unfortunately, I don't have much show and tell other than this bus hidden back here. And double cab to be more exact. And this guy, which if you follow the channel, you know this is this extremely bitchin' double cab we're building that left for a few days to go over to A1 Muffler for them to fix the tailpipe. Let me come back to that. Let's talk about this guy first. Sorry guys, super crowded in here. It's already 7 o'clock and I'm trying to get out of here. So I went ahead and put these cars away here before filming the video. So the first thing that I did on this super cool double cab today is to go ahead and do a valve adjustment. And on cars that have a Sidewinder style exhaust, this car's low, Sidewinder style exhaust with a muffler there on the side, you pretty much have to pull the muffler to do a valve adjustment. And it's usually kind of a pain in the ass. And lowered cars are also kind of a pain in the ass because you have to jack them up to do anything. Not normally on like a normal bus, you can just kind of crawl under there and do a valve adjustment, and there's plenty of room. Even if you have to drop the muffler, you just kind of crawl under there and do it. On a slammed bus, though, a little bit more tricky. And so you got to jack the back of the car up, and then these wheels and tires, and by the way, I love this combo. These things are just look so spot on. These are 16-inch wheels and 205 tires. I don't know the width of the wheels, but they're really wide. But anyway, it's really hard to get that wheel out of here. When you jack the car all the way up, you really got to kind of almost play with the wheel once you get all the lugs off to get it out from underneath there, because there's pretty much no room between the outside of the wheel and tire and that fender there. And so even when and this car has a straight axle conversion too, so the axles probably aren't dropping as far as they would on a non-lowered bus. So there's a lot kind of working against you as far as getting that thing off. So finally got that off, pulled off the muffler, and went and did a valve adjustment, and nothing too concerning. So it is a high performance motor. It does have chromoly push rods, and they were all a bit on the loose side. Nothing crazy, like maybe loose by a couple thousandths maybe. I didn't bother measuring them, but just by my, sort of calibrated hand, couple thou probably, most of them, maybe 3 thou. So not crazy, but too much, because those we set at what we call loose zero, which is pretty much the point where you can't feel any play in there, but you can still, if you take your fingers, you can rotate the push rod. So that's considered loose zero. Anyway, so set them all at loose zero. No big deal there. And he had mentioned that the valve cover on this side was leaking. And so I figured it just had, I don't know, like maybe a poorly installed valve cover gasket or something. Let me show you guys what I found in there, because I've never seen one of these before, and I can see why it was leaking. So this is what was in there. I don't know what this is, guys. I almost feel like I've seen this before, like online or in a magazine, maybe a really long time ago, as maybe like a leak-proof gasket or something like that. It's not leak-proof. This thing leaked terrible. It looks to me like, and I don't even think this is how it was installed. It looks to me like this side here would probably go against the cylinder head, and this side would maybe go against the valve cover. I don't know, guys. It was actually the opposite of that. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to go. I don't know how this thing is supposed to go, but the bottom of it was kind of like up like that. I'm exaggerating, but it wasn't even really like seated around the valve cover, and it may have been installed upside down. I don't even know, but this thing was definitely the cause of the leak. And so the other side, which by the way was not leaking, had a regular cork gasket in it. So anyway, so I put cork gaskets in both sides, and then when I went to put this side back on, the right side, the 1-2 side. Again, replacing this gasket with a cork one. The bail clip was very loose, like not really applying any force at all to the valve cover. And so I'm wondering if back in the day when somebody decided to put this gasket on that side in particular, maybe it was just that the bail clip wasn't adjusted tight enough. And so they put in this, kind of thicker rubber gasket to, I don't know, maybe solve that issue. I'm not sure what the thought process was, but this is obviously much thicker than a cork one. So when I put the cork one in, I had to go and kind of tweak the bail clip to get it nice and tight. It feels great now, and I don't think it's going to leak. So we'll see. Anyway, if it does leak, it'll be a very, very tiny amount, and it'll be way better than this thing. But it probably won't leak. Usually we have pretty good luck with those when we install them the way we do. The valve covers are scat, like old school scat, made out of very heavy gauge metal, and they have those little tabs on them that are supposed to help kind of keep the gasket in the right place and keep the valve cover itself kind of centered on the head. So I don't think that the valve covers themselves were an issue. Sometimes aftermarket stamped steel valve covers, the seating surface on them isn't particularly flat, and so they leak because you need to have a nice flat valve cover with a nice cork gasket sealing against a nice flat head, and then usually you can get them to not leak. But anyway, I'm pretty sure the scat ones seem to be high quality, so we'll see. But this thing was definitely the cause of the leak on that side. So I did that. That was a little bit of a pain. And whoever put them in, there were tons and tons of silicone in there. It took me forever to remove all the old silicone from the valve covers and get, we want to put the new gaskets in on like a pristine surface. You can't have like goopy silicone in there. So clean those very thoroughly, and in they go. So we'll see. But anyway, that was the valve covers. The other thing was when I pulled off that side was I noticed that this mess, which was the muffler hanger, so up on the front end of the muffler, and it was broken off. It looked like this thing was welded to the edge of the muffler, and it looks like it's probably been broken for a while based on kind of the way it looks here. I don't think it just broke off. But a couple things. One is that on this car, again, with those very fat wheels and tires combo on there, is when you raise the car, in other words, the wheel and tire comes down, it actually very severely hit the muffler. And I'm wondering if maybe that is what caused this to break. I'm not sure. But anyway, this was broken, and the muffler also had a hole in it, not on the muffler itself, but on the inlet side of the muffler where it bolts to the flange on the header. It had a couple of pieces of tubing kind of welded together, and one of those had probably like an 1/8 inch or probably bigger than an 1/8 inch hole where they just didn't weld it closed in that area. So it obviously had an exhaust leak in that area, so busted out the welder, welded that up. And then this thing, part of the challenge with this car is since the wheel hits the muffler when the car is jacked up, in other words, when the wheel drops down, you can't really have the muffler completely bolted on with the car up on a jack stand and the wheel off, because you wouldn't be able to put anything back together. Actually, I take it back. The muffler is very close to hitting the tire. It does hit the tire when you jack it up, but then it also hits the caliper. It hits everything, guys. And so basically what I ended up doing was I made a new mount for the front of the muffler that picks up the stud where that other mount that I showed you that was broken, picks that up and then goes down and picks up like a little kind of flange on the muffler that I threaded. And so now there's basically a steel strap, probably, I don't know, not quite 1/8 inch thick by inch wide, that goes from that stud essentially down to the front of the muffler. And the way I set it up is is now when you put this thing together, it's a process, guys. You pretty much put the 3 bolts on the flange over here, but leave them kind of loose. And then you don't attach that strap over here. And that allows the muffler to kind of swing out of the way enough that you can put the wheel and tire on this side and put the car back on the ground so the wheel travels up to, you know, like riding position. And then basically you reach under there and you put the bolt in that attaches the front of the muffler to that strap to secure it on that end. And then you tighten up the 3 bolts on the flange here. You just kind of reach under the car. There's enough room and you tighten those. So it's a process, guys. But on these modified cars that are low and, you know, have wide aftermarket wheels and tires, it can be a challenge sometimes to get everything to fit. And this is no exception. Again, love this wheel and tire combo. Looks spot on, but makes working on the car a bit of a challenge just because everything is super close. And then if you jack it up, things are not super close anymore. They're actually hitting. So a bit of a challenge there with that. So that was actually just doing the valve job and fixing this muffler issue was a decent part of my day because I had to kind of sit and figure out how to solve this problem of being able to bolt the muffler on when the car's on the ground because there's not much room to reach up under there, guys. So anyway, that was the solution I came up with. So while I was under there, I did a few other things. I did check the front shift coupler, the one up by the nose cone, and it actually looked fine. I had somebody wiggle the shifter around and I didn't see any motion or anything concerning it, so I left it alone. However, the 2 grub screws on it didn't have any safety wire on them, so I went and I made sure the 2 grub screws were tight, and then I added safety wire to both of those to make sure that it can't, you know, possibly work itself loose or anything. So I did that. And then the fuel hose between the tank outlet on the bottom and the hard line that runs right up to almost the engine compartment, that fuel line was pretty crusty. It wasn't as bad as the one on that Gia that I had last week or whenever that was, where I basically like touched the fuel line and it crumbled apart and started puking gas everywhere. But this one was getting pretty old. And so I thought while I was under there, I went ahead and replaced that. We're talking about a section about this long, again, between the outlet of the fuel tank and then the hard line that runs up closer to the engine. So I went ahead and replaced that. The fuel line that goes from that hard line there to the other hard line that is the one that goes in the engine compartment. That one looked okay. It felt very compliant and stuff still. It seemed like it had been replaced much more recent, so I didn't bother with that one. But the one, yeah, it was starting to feel pretty old, so took care of that. And trying to think what else I did on this thing today. I think those were kind of the major things on it. And yeah, that was about what I did today. Pretty much all day on the back of this car. I did check the clutch cable, the other cables and stuff back there. All that stuff looked fine. I didn't see any real necessity to replace any of that. It's got one of these pretty heavy duty throttle cables on it, so those things, to my knowledge, pretty much never break. They're huge. They're literally like twice the size of the stock ones, and they're braided instead of just a steel wire. So no real concern there. The only other thing on this car, guys, that I haven't really got to yet is seeing if I can figure out the source of the battery drain. Again, he said if the car sits for like a couple days, it drains the battery. There is a disconnect on it right there that I guess he's been disconnecting the battery, but that's just a pain. You don't want to have to disconnect your battery every time you park your car. So I'm going to still see if I can trace that out. Other than that, I do need to crawl around up underneath the front of the bus again and do kind of an inspection under there. Looked at it a little bit when I was working on the shifter and the shift coupling and stuff like that, but I don't think there's anything else going on up here that needs attention, but I'm going to look a little bit more thoroughly. So that was pretty much my day, guys, on this one. Let's talk about the barn door here for a minute. So it came back from A1, and as you can see, they shortened the muffler, and yes, it is pointed slightly off that way. They know that, and they put a note on it themselves there. It says, it's hard to read, but it says 1/4, like 1/4 inch that way. You can see it needs to be tilted that way, a hair to be straight. But other than that, yeah, much better, guys. They took about 2 inches off its length, how much it was sticking out that way. And more importantly, it clears the bumper now. So if you remember before, and yes, it is exactly 1 finger width, which is what I asked him for. So yeah, clear there now. And as you can see now, the bumper is in the right place. Again, about ½ inch, maybe a little less than ½ an inch below these markers here and stuff like that. So the plan is that I need to go ahead and pull the muffler off the motor and then run it to A1, and they will fix that tilt a little bit on it and then do the final welding. So that will be it for that. So that being the case, guys, depending on how long they have this muffler to do the final welding, could be next week that we are firing this thing up. So yeah, we'll see. That's kind of the last major thing, was getting this to all fit here. So yeah, we'll see. Depends on how long. Hopefully they can, if I'm able to pull that muffler off in the morning and bring that to them, hopefully they'll be able to just knock it out tomorrow. And then we can put the muffler back on, and I think this thing is ready to start. Obviously the motor has run before, it's been dynoed, etc. It just says never run inside this vehicle before. So we gotta, the fuel, which I think all the fuel and everything is hooked up, but yeah, some little stuff like that. And then this thing's gonna be ready to fire up. If I recall correctly, the brakes on this thing are bled already. All the electrical works. I think this thing is literally ready to start and test drive. Might have to like adjust the clutch or something, but yeah, super, super close, guys. So really exciting. It's been kind of a long journey here for this thing. Tons and tons of custom parts. Super hard to find stuff for barn doors and stuff like that. So getting very close, guys. As far as the other guys in the shop, I can't give you an update quite yet because they're still working on it. The red bus. So I think that Rene finished all the painting on it today. He still needs to color sand and buff where he fixed the area there on the red bus where there was some, like a little fender bender accident. Still needs to color sand and buff that panel. And other than that, I think he needs to put on the bumper overrider and overrider support on that side that he repainted, which also had a little accident damage. And he painted the Safari frame, so I guess when Rafa comes in Monday, he'll probably go ahead and put those Safaris together and put those on. So that is the update on the red 66 bus. And then, let's see, Rene has also been working on the metal and bodywork on the 67 bus. Or excuse me, 67 bug, that's it. So, okay guys, that's it. Busy around here as usual, definitely a good thing. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye.